My name is Emily Carter, and I live in Chicago, Illinois. If you told me a year ago that four simple words, let's just be friends, would change my life in ways I never expected, I probably would have laughed. Friendship sounded safe, easy, comforting. But what I didn't realize was that when I said those words to Daniel Walker, the guy who had been a huge part of my life for years, it would shatter everything we had. Daniel and I met during our first year of college at the University of Illinois. He was majoring in architecture, and I was studying English literature. We had completely different worlds. He was logical, numbers-driven, fascinated with buildings and designs, while I was drawn to books, stories, and human emotions. But for some reason, we clicked right away. We met in the campus library on a rainy afternoon. I had spilled coffee all over my notes, frustrated and on the verge of tears, when he appeared out of nowhere with a napkin and a smile. "Rough day?" he asked, his voice calm and kind. I nodded, and from that moment, a friendship began. Over the years, Daniel became my person. We studied together. We walked around campus late at night. We shared secrets we didn't tell anyone else. He was the first person I called when something good happened, and the first one I turned to when things went wrong. My family loved him too. My mom would always ask, "So when are you two going to start dating?" I'd laugh it off, insisting that Daniel was just my best friend. But if I'm being honest, somewhere deep down, I knew there was more to it. After graduation, Daniel and I both stayed in Chicago. I started working at a publishing house while he joined a well-known architectural firm downtown. We were busy, yes, but we still made time for each other. Friday dinners, Sunday morning runs by the lake, random late-night phone calls just to talk about nothing and everything. That's when things started to change. One night, after a particularly long day at work, Daniel came over to my apartment with pizza and ice cream. We sat on the couch, laughing about old college memories, when suddenly his expression grew serious. "Emily," he said, looking me straight in the eye, "I need to tell you something." My heart raced. I had a feeling I knew what was coming, but I wasn't ready. "I like you," he confessed. "More than a friend." "I think I always have." The room went quiet. I froze. I should have been happy, maybe even relieved, but instead I panicked. I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want to risk the friendship that meant so much to me. So I did the only thing I thought was safe. "Daniel," I whispered, "you're my best friend. I don't want to ruin that. Let's just be friends." His face fell, but he nodded slowly. "Yeah, friends." I thought that was the end of it. I thought we could just go back to the way things were. But I was wrong. At first, Daniel tried. He still came around, still called me, still laughed at my jokes. But there was a heaviness in his eyes I hadn't noticed before. Slowly, the texts became less frequent. The calls stopped. When I reached out, he'd reply with one-word answers. And then one day he was just gone. He didn't block me. He didn't fight with me. He simply cut me out of his life completely. At first, I was angry. How could he do this? After everything we'd been through, after all the years of friendship, how could he just walk away? Didn't our bond mean anything to him? But as the weeks turned into months, the anger faded into sadness, and then into guilt. Because deep down, I realized what I hadn't wanted to admit before. I had feelings for him too. I had been too scared to face them, too scared to risk getting hurt. And now I had lost him. Life went on. I focused on my job, made new friends, tried to move forward. But no one could fill the void Daniel left behind. Every time I walked past the cafe we used to go to, or the park where we'd sit and talk for hours, I felt the ache all over again. Then, one spring afternoon, I ran into him downtown. I was coming out of a bookstore when I saw him across the street. He looked different, more mature, more confident, but still the same Daniel I knew. My heart leapt, and before I could think twice, I called out, "Daniel." He turned. For a moment, his eyes softened, and I thought maybe he would smile. But then his expression hardened, and he simply nodded before walking away. That hurt more than anything. That night, I sat in my apartment replaying everything in my head. The years of laughter, the late-night talks, the way he had looked at me when he confessed his feelings. And I finally understood. Daniel wasn't being cruel by cutting me out. He was protecting himself. He had given me his heart, and I had turned him down. Staying friends wasn't possible for him, not when his feelings ran deeper than mine. And the truth was, maybe it wasn't possible for me either. I thought about writing him a letter, pouring out everything I felt, telling him I missed him and that I might have been wrong. But I hesitated. What if it was too late? What if he had already moved on? Weeks passed, and then one day, I received an envelope in the mail. My heart nearly stopped when I saw the handwriting on the front. It was Daniel's. Inside was a short note. "Emily, I hope you're doing well. I'm writing because I wanted you to know that I don't hate you. I never could. But I can't be in your life and pretend I don't feel what I feel. It hurts too much. I'll always be grateful for the years we shared. You'll always mean something to me. Take care of yourself." I cried when I read it. Not because it was cruel, but because it was kind. Because even in letting go, Daniel had shown me the depth of his heart. And that's when I made a decision. I wrote back. I told him I was sorry. I told him I missed him. And I told him, finally, the words I had been too scared to say before. "I think I love you too." I didn't know if he would reply. I didn't know if he would ever forgive me, or if he had already moved on with someone else. But I knew I had to try. Because if I had learned anything from losing Daniel, it was this: sometimes friendship isn't enough. Sometimes you have to take the risk. Days turned into weeks. I waited, checking the mail every afternoon like a kid. Then one sunny Saturday, there it was, another envelope. My hands shook as I opened it. "Emily, thank you for your letter. I won't lie, it took me by surprise. I had convinced myself you didn't feel the same. I don't know where this leaves us, but I'm willing to talk. Maybe we can meet for coffee, see where things go. If nothing else, it's good to know the truth." It wasn't a grand declaration, but it was enough. It was a start. So here I am now, months later, sitting in a quiet cafe across from Daniel. We're talking, laughing, and for the first time in a long time, it feels like maybe, just maybe, we have another chance. Because sometimes when you say, "Let's just be friends," life teaches you that friendship was only the beginning of the story.